Hey there. Welcome to the Girl Go Global podcast, where faith and works are empowered. With every episode, we're discussing what it takes to pursue purpose intentionally while doing everything we have in our hearts to do. Together, we're embracing our multi-layered lives with faith, know-how, and grit. I'm your host, Dr. Jasmine, and I'm ready to go global with you. Let's get started.
Hey, global girls, welcome to the Girl Go Global podcast where faith and works are empowered. Today, I'm so excited to talk to Miss Kayla Walter. Today, we're going to be talking about thriving in singleness and in business. Kayla is a financial life coach, speaker, certified financial planner, and founder of the faith-driven single women community. She believes in helping believers match their abundance of faith with the weight of their wallets by teaching them how to better manage and increase their income so they can give generously, work purposefully, and live abundantly. I have with me Miss Kayla Walter, and I'm so excited to have her sponsor this episode. This episode is sponsored by the Faith Driven Single Women Community. So, I'm going to give Kayla an opportunity to introduce herself and to tell us anything she wants to share.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Dr. Jasmine, for having me. As you just said, hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Walter. I am a financial life coach, and I love to help single women just match their faith with utilizing their faith to help better manage and increase their finances so that they can do all the things that they want to do in this life without checking with their bank account. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so excited that I got a chance. I guess we met online. You reached out to me to participate in your conference or online virtual summit for single women because I have a book called Heart Rhythm Surviving Singleness with Faith, Know-How, and Grit. And by the way, it's available anywhere books are sold. But we're talking all about Kayla today. We're talking about faith. We're talking about know-how. We're talking about grit. And Kayla reached out to me to just kind of be a part of her summit, which was a dynamic experience where I was able to share a little bit about my journey as a single woman, but also about my book and just talk to the ladies about just kind of surviving and thriving in singleness. So I want to talk to Kayla about why she decided to develop this community for single women and what that looks like for her, for the rest of this year.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't even know where the idea came from. Right after the pandemic hit, everybody, sitting at home for extended periods of time. And that's when I really started like digging into, and looking into entrepreneurship. And I honestly thought it was going like a totally different route. But I just always had this thought in the back of my mind, like, oh, I want to do something for single women. I don't know why. It was just always a thought in the back of my mind. And it took me about a year to even put that online conference on because I was focused on like, oh, I need to just stick with the finance thing and just, stay over there. So it took me a year before I even did, Faith Driven Single Women, the 3-day event. But it was just always a thought, and it's just something that hasn't left me. It's still something that I continue to feel drawn to do, as stretching as it is. It still just like hasn't left me. But now I'm thinking like, okay, I just took the long route back to like, okay, well, maybe, this is honestly just where I'm being called to in this season is uplifting and encouraging and speaking into the lives of single women.
That's so awesome. When I was single, it was challenging for me. And we talked about this a while back when we first met. It was challenging. I was not thriving. I was definitely surviving. And it was just an emotional roller coaster of heartbreak. It was an emotional roller coaster for me as it relates to just dealing with childhood traumas and things of that nature. So you're definitely giving back in a meaningful and positive way. You call it the faith-driven single women's community. And by the way, it's on Facebook. So look her up on Facebook. Look up that Facebook group. It's a dynamic group. But
Yes,
you call
yes.
it the faith-driven group, single women's group. Why? Like, do you think that singleness resides in faith? One of the tenets of the Girl Go Global podcast and community is faith. But why faith-driven single women? What value does faith have in singleness?
I think faith has value in honestly everything. And so the community that, I'm in the process of building, I really wanted it to attract ambitious women, like ambitious women of faith. Like, in order to have ambition, obviously you got to have a lot of faith in your skill set and your ability to get the job done or to accomplish, whatever new goal that is that you have set for yourself. And, also when it comes to singleness, having faith that even though I'm here in this moment right now and I'm not married, I have faith that one day, if I haven't already met this man, I am going to meet this man. And, it's going to be the happily ever after that has obviously continual maintenance, but it's going to be the happily ever after that, I've prayed for. And so,
in Jesus' name, how about that?
Yeah.
So how are you thriving in singleness? Like, what helps you thrive? I know that one of your foundations is your faith, but what do you do to help you thrive in singleness, and what suggestions do you give and share out in your community?
Yeah. So for me, I feel like maybe I'm a little bit different because I am a natural introvert. So it don't bother me not one iota to be by myself. Like, I am completely comfortable with myself. And I know for me, communication is like a big thing for me. Even when I was younger, like in junior high, even when I was in high school, I used to always make this joke, like, I need to marry a man in the military because he'll be able to go away out in the field or something for 2 weeks and give me time to miss him before he come back. Like, that is just, that has always been my thing.
Really? Oh my goodness. And I'm opposite, the start opposite.
Yeah. Like, I've just really never been a codependent person. Like, I don't need somebody around me 24/7. Like, when it comes to love languages, and I finally read the book, and it honestly helped me understand like me and my brother's relationship, and why we never got along is because we don't speak each other's love languages. And knowing my love language and knowing what isn't my love language has helped me so much. And even though I know even sometimes I'm terrible at, communicating other people's love languages, I know mine, and I know why. Like, when I'm annoyed or something, it's because I'm an acts of service person. I don't care about no physical touch. You don't even gotta touch me. You ain't gotta spend time with me like that, because I don't want to be spending time with other people like that. Like, just do what I asked you to do. And
let me tell you, I'm gonna share something, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble for even saying this, but before I got married, my husband and I, we read the book, we went to the 5 Love Languages conference, and with Gary Chapman, it was great, right?
That's awesome.
And my love languages, dominant one is the acts of service, and I think maybe somewhat words of affirmation, right? So, my husband and I, we were not intimate before marriage. We waited. And so once I got married, I had to go back and backtrack. I said, no, it's physical touch. So at one time it's acts of service, but yeah, I'm raising that one up myself. So,
Look,
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I didn't change it myself. I don't need no survey to tell me.
Look, but you already got the knowledge inside, so you know how to make those tweaks. But yeah, like, for me, it's just being single. Honestly, there's just so many things that I want to do. And when it comes to me thinking ahead, I'm like, there's so many things I want to accomplish before I even get to that point. Like, I've decided like I want to be bad and bougie and I want to have a little lavish wedding. But that costs money. And I'm like, okay, well, I gotta grow. So I can afford this, because there's just no way I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna make my parents pay for something that I want, especially when it comes to all of the extras. Like I want my life to be so extra, and somebody's got to pay for it, right? So I was like, all right, Lord, give me the wisdom and help me figure this thing out so I can afford, the things that I want to afford, and afford the life that I want to live, so that I'm able to do the things, that I want to do. And so that's also another, I guess, like, point for me in thriving in singleness is like, one, I'm okay, with not being married. And even, in my late 20s now, and, it used to be a whole like, oh my God, I cannot pass 30 and be unmarried, or I'm going to be like the black sheep or whatever. And, some of that stems from just growing up in a small town and being around people who, got married at like 22. And then everyone who always tells you as soon as you graduate college, they're like, okay, yay, now you need to get married. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, I just got my degree. Like, can I go work first? Like, can I get some experience? Can I earn my own money? And I don't know. That's just always been something for me. I used to joke all the time, and my family knows, like, I have, people say I look like my mom, but I have my dad's attitude. And with my dad's always, raised me to not depend on people. And I may have taken that up a couple of notches, if I'm honest. So when it comes to like me, it's like, okay, I know how to depend on myself, and I enjoy depending on myself. And I'm working on, and I know that's going to be a point for me, even transitioning into a, marriage type relationship, is learning how to depend on somebody else, because I'm just so like, I'm so focused on like, it's me. I do what I got to do. I don't got to ask nobody no questions. When I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. I mean, of course, there are times at night when I'm like, Jesus, I wish somebody would come take this trash out. Like, I just need a man to do just these things. Take this trash out, check the mail, and then change these clocks when the time changes, do stuff like do stuff around the house like that. But other than that, like, I'm just like, I'm fine. I don't got to ask nobody for nothing. I don't need permission, to do nothing. I don't got to worry about, like, if I don't feel like cooking, I can go the whole week with just eating out, because, it's just me. And I have everything kind of like timed down to like a T. Like, I know if I go to this place, I can get, I can eat on that for like 4 days, and I ain't got to think about nobody else.
Wow. But listen, I know, take it from me. I'm older than you. We ain't even gonna get into how old I am, but I know I'm older than you. Take it from me. I didn't get married until I was 38, 37, somewhere in there. And so it was a transition for me, because I was like you, I own my own home. I'll do this. I'm professional. I'm all of that. I love God, all of that. But coming into a marriage, I really had to kind of give a little bit and relax and take the reins off of all the control that I had of my life, to invite someone else in to be that leader that I prayed for, to trust him to lead. And it was challenging for me. I've just celebrated my 3rd year anniversary, wedding anniversary. So excited about that. We survived a lot. We survived living in the house together during COVID and a whole bunch of other things. And we've enjoyed it. It was great. A lot of people didn't make it out of COVID now.
That is true.
A lot of divorces, right? So I'm grateful for that. But I had to learn, and I'm still practicing releasing that control, acknowledging it doesn't have to be the way I wanted it to be, or just kind of, letting him lead. Because for so long, it's been me and God. I pray, God give me instruction, and I'll carry it out. Or I just follow my instinct to make certain decisions and things of that nature. But now having to, we remodeled our bedroom, and just got new decor and things of that nature. And whereas I would have made all the decisions, I'm like, okay, you like this paint color? I don't like that pink color. So it's like this little give and take. So I get it. And I'm gonna pray for you on that, sis, because when you bring someone else into your house, your community, where you move in or buy something, it's a lot of give and take. And so that's one of the things I know for sure is a challenge for women who have achieved a lot when they have that significant other. And I definitely don't have no beta male in my house. So like he's a leader, a true leader. He on, just let me run all over him and do everything that I say. He's strong-willed, strong mind, but I do appreciate that he hears from God too. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that he makes sound decisions, but I also recognize, that I need to kind of just fall back and just trust the man that I married.
Yeah. And I already know. So everybody listening, y'all can just go ahead and send up a prayer or 3, maybe 10 for me.
We're going to make sure we're going to send up, before we get off of this, before we close, we're going to say a little prayer just for not only you, but for other women who say, God, I want my spouse. I want who you have for me. But this is an area where I struggle in, because it's a constant prayer.
And I know for me, like that, I already know like that's going to be a challenge for me, just like what you said. And I already, we know as ambitious women, you can't deal with no beta man, because quick, easy, walk right all over him. Like, I already know, like, oh, beta, I can squish you like a bug, honey. Like, like I will run all around you.
Yeah. You don't want that.
No. And no ambitious woman wants that.
I hope not. Well, maybe some of them do.
Well, I mean, I don't want, but at the end of the day, even being an ambitious woman, I just feel like strong women want stronger men. Because we don't want anybody, like, at the end of the day, I might like control. I might I might enjoy making the decisions, but I don't want to have to make those decisions. Like, I want somebody else to step in, like, you make the decision, so I don't have to think about it.
My husband makes all our travel plans.
Oh, that is amazing.
Like, but let me put a caveat out there for everybody. It's good, but I might not have my plane ticket until the day before, and I gotta be okay with that. I might not know where I'm staying, but I know I'm going.
Oh Lord. Okay,
but see, that's my point, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my given.
Yeah,
I'm a planner. Most women are planners.
Oh yeah.
I want to book my trip 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, however long. I know I'm going. All right, let's book the stuff. But that's not how he operates. And I ain't using my card to book it. So I gotta wait till he's ready. And so because he's a business owner, he's very busy. So his priority is taking care of our house, taking care of his business. And if it's not in that synchronized order, we going on a trip in 2 months in July. We don't have our ticket yet, but I know we going.
Well, so look,
that was faith. My giving.
That's a whole new level of faith.
But I'm just saying, when he has proven that it works, that I'm going to end up 5-star, or he find me some first class ticket. Oh, I'm good with that.
Oh, okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like God. Let's talk about God. God proves, he has proven himself. We got history with God, right?
Yeah.
We have faith in what he can do because he has proven himself. His word is true. No word has returned void. He has always come through, right? Mm-hmm. So if I trust that God gave me the man who he has for me, and I have faith, and he has proven, we've been on many trips together. I have never been out on the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in those instances, and people look at me like, y'all have your room? Oh, we gonna have it. I just might not see the confirmation email come in our family email until, I'm packed, I'm ready. I know what day I'm leaving. And sometimes he might say, okay, we gotta leave early than I thought. I got a different, so I'm just saying I'm just ready to pivot. I'm with him. I'm driving with him till the wheels fall off. So if that's the only thing one of the things I gotta give up on, and I know he's gonna take care of it and he's gonna use his card, I'm good.
Give and take.
Right. So that was different for me. So that's just one example of me letting him lead.
That's a good one. Because me personally, I already know I'm the kind of type I check behind everything, and then I'll be the one to be like, all right, we hitting the 24-hour mark. Like, I need you to chop.
Listen, I know it works. And he what he said, babe, I got it. And I said, okay. Now it took some getting used to. Let me be clear. Yeah. It took some getting used to. But you pick your battles, and it works. I trust him, and he has never left me forsaken without a place to sleep or way to travel. So how about that? Oh my God, this conversation is so good. I am talking with Miss Kayla Walter. She is the founder of the faith-driven single woman community. It's found on Facebook. Check her out on Facebook, and be sure to join her group if you're out there single and wanting a community of women to fellowship with, to study the Bible with, and partake in some events. But Kayla, you talked about something earlier that I want to circle back to. And you were talking about like that financial stability, some things that you want to achieve. And you are a financial planner. So why not let us know what you're doing to kind of shore up your finances? So I'm going to use, for lack of a better term, this idea about so you can secure that generational wealth that so many are talking about. Any tips you have for financial planning as a single woman? Because it's much different when you're married and you got a 2-income household. But what are you doing? What can you share for those faith-driven single women out there who are looking to shore up their finances and maybe get out of debt or just kind of achieve some things on their own while they are single?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I feel like some people are, not to say intimidated, but just like sometimes you get put off when you hear the term like financial advisor or like financial planner, or think like, oh, you just have it all together. And it's like, I want people to realize, number one, I'm still in my 20s, so I ain't been working that long. So, I am still working towards, goals myself. Like, I would love to be like, yeah, I got $1 million investment portfolio, but I don't even think I've made $1 million to date, throughout all of my working years, because I just ain't been alive that long. But, for me, one thing that I am, really focusing on, a lot of people, like, we listen to Dave Ramsey or whatever, they're trying to tell you, you need to get out of debt first. But I like to take my counsel from other people who align more with me. And, not to say that you should not strive to get out of debt, because you absolutely should. Like, and I want you to get out of debt, but I also want you to have something on the other side that is an asset. So, if you have debt and that's the big goal, getting out of debt effectively leaves you at zero. And now you have a zero net worth, and one more, catastrophe emergency can come back in, could come in, as typically it does once you find solid ground. Murphy's Law, something's going to happen, and that's going to put you back in debt, right? Especially if you didn't plan for it. So making sure you have your bases covered, number one, like in the form of like an emergency fund, having your 3 to 6 months or, more worth of expenses, saved up for you in case of an emergency. And then, moving into your investment accounts. Most people, if you're working a job, you have access to an investment account. You might not consider yourself an investor, but if you're putting money into that account every time you get paid, you are an investor, and it's worth taking a look into and maximizing what you already have. A lot of people think that they don't have accounts, think that they can't invest because they don't have the money, when truth is their job has given them an investment account. They are an investor. They just don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what they're entitled to. They don't know what they have. So checking and seeing what you have first, like, okay, you have this account. Let's look at it. see what it's invested in, see what your rate of return is, get yourself familiar with what's there. And then you can look into, getting into having outside accounts that you can manage, like by yourself. But just starting there is just, super simple. And then, just saving for things that you want to do, whether that be travel, whether it be, home ownership, or, maybe wanting to live abroad, whatever it is, you can stretch your money to do whatever. Money is just a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool for you to help you live your life. Money should never, ever, ever be the dictator of how you live your life. It should just be a tool in which you use to utilize to make your life better.
That's so good. One of the things that I wish I had known, right, when I started my career is, you mentioned about that investment portfolio that a lot of career jobs offer. I didn't know. I didn't do my due diligence and look into that deeper to know what percentage I should be saving, and because my job matched a certain amount with my in federal government is in your thrift savings plan. And I just, I started out, somebody told me do 5%, do X%, and I was like, oh, okay. It didn't make sense to me, and I didn't do my due diligence and really looking into it in the way that I felt like I should have been. And so that's one of the things I also agree with and think wholeheartedly. Anyone who is looking to shore up their finances during their singleness, absolutely everything Kayla has shared, but also like do your research, sit down and pay some attention to what's offered by your job or what's offered by your banks, or whatever kind of portfolio that you're trying to develop, whether it be through real estate or whether it be through some type of IRA. Really do your research, man, because I wish I had. How about that? I would have had so much more money saved up.
Yeah, finance is really just all about education. And, historically, as people of color, we just haven't been privy to that education. We didn't have, my parents didn't have a me to sit down with them and tell them what's next. And that's part of the reason why I even decided to go into this field when it was introduced to me, and why I stayed in this field, because as I was going through the classes, and I'm, I went to the LSU, so everybody knows it's a PWI. And I'm the only little chocolate drop in most of my classes. And I'm just sitting here like, why is my folks the only people who did not know any of this? Like, I was livid. It's like, how is this possible? How all y'all people know and my folks didn't know? Like, I just couldn't understand it. But I mean, we always tell people when we go out and do like presentations and stuff, you always take the match. You might not be able to afford the maximum for the year, which, I mean, 2022, this year, if you wanted to max out your employer sponsored plan, like your IRA, your 401k with your job, it's $20,500. You don't have $20,500 to put in that account. Cool. Do what they match, because that's basically free money.
Listen, so, I did have sense enough to do that contribution and have them match me. So that's one thing I'm pleased about. I've really just literally found out about the family office. My husband was doing some reading, and he has been sharing with me about what the family office means and how you raise funds through that whole thing. And I'm probably sure you know about it. And if you not know, and get a book, read about it. But it's just so much financial education out there. And I really don't even think they teach enough about that in schools.
Oh, right? No. And it's because, they have a term that's called accredited investor. And most people have never heard of this. And most people will probably never hear of this because they, even the people who have the income to be considered an accredited investor don't know what it is. So basically, an accredited investor, if you're single, you make over $250,000 a year, you have $1 million and or have $1 million net worth without including your personal residence. If you're married, $300,000, same rule. But what that basically allows you to do is get into investments that are not open to the public, because you have to, be considered an accredited investor to be in these investments, and it allows you to get into these early stage ventures, that are up and coming and that are going to take off. So all the people, you saw like Netflix before all this stuff happened, everybody's like, man, why didn't I know? Like, how come I couldn't get into Netflix? It's because you weren't an accredited investor. So you didn't know, that they were rounding up seed money or things like that to even get in this venture, that for everybody who was able to invest in it at its early stages saw, 100x returns.
That's good. You just dropped a real gem right there. If someone wants to get into if you get accredited investors, is that the term?
Yeah, it's called an accredited investor.
Accredited investor. If someone wanted to get into that industry or arena, how could they go about doing the research and just kind of taking advantage of something like that?
Well, I mean, for one, obviously you got to get your money up, because like I said, in order to be considered an accredited investor, you have to make $250,000 per year as a single person, or $300,000 as a married couple. So, you just not skating by for a lot of these offerings. And then also you need to be working with someone who has access to these opportunities, because these opportunities really only show up through word of mouth. You got to know people. This is where it pays to know people, and to know people in the finance arena who have access to these opportunities to help, you as a potential client can tell you like, hey, this company is doing, a round of funding, they're raising money, and when the company takes off, you'll get your money back. Or, knowing someone who invests in real estate in these complexes, and you're wondering how all these people like Grant Cardone just, keep making money and stuff. And it's because they're in on these things that are up and coming, and like these things are going to be filled, the company is going to take off, and they're able to get in because they have the money to do so. So number one, have the money to do so. Number two, you need to know people who know things.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm deeply passionate about, doing a lot of networking, communicating with people, linking up with people, and going to events. Now that we're back opening back up, that's how you getting information. Not trying to be an information junkie by no means, but
Yeah,
information that's going to serve a greater good in my life. So what you shared is just so on point. I can't even express how on point it is. So we've been talking about faith and singleness. So how do you engage your faith in your business? I know that. How long have you been in business, and what does that mean? How does your faith keep you grounded in your business?
I will say deciding that, I want to go into entrepreneurship has been the biggest test of my faith to date. Because there are just so many things. Like, it's a whole new world, like Aladdin and Jasmine sing A Whole New World, literally a whole new world. But it's such a beautiful journey, because it definitely continues to push you into areas of unknown, and learning to trust yourself with things like I would have never even thought I would be doing. Like, one of my mentors says, the funny thing about entering into, so one of my mentors, Marshawn Evans Daniel, she has this amazing book called Believe Bigger. And if you've read Believe Bigger, in the book, she has the purpose map. And in the purpose map, she has like the zone. So you have, I can't remember the first zone, but it's like you go from one zone into your glory zone. And in your glory zone, you discover you're good at things that you didn't even know you were good at. And that's really kind of what entrepreneurship is. So like, you go through school, you have your talents, you have the things you learn, the things that you're good at because you learn them. But entrepreneurship really forces you. It's really forced me into areas of life which I would have never thought I'd venture into. And seeing that, okay, it's actually not that bad. And I'm actually pretty good at it. It's like, oh, who knew? And it's really been stretching in the most beautiful sense, because I feel like it's been helping me come into alignment with the woman that I'm supposed to be.
That's
and
good.
For me, I feel like entrepreneurship came by way of a prayer. And let me tell you, prayers can be dangerous. So watch what you pray. Watch what you pray, because prayers can be dangerous.
You never
But
lied.
like, I prayed this very risky prayer of, Lord, I want to die empty. Like, I don't want to leave this earth with anything that, you've given me to serve other people with. And part of that, heard a message preached by, I think it was Cornelius Lindsay, back when they were in Atlanta, and he had preached the message on that. And then I like to listen to people like Les Brown, and they talk about how the graveyard is the most valuable place on earth, because so many people take their dreams with them, in the grave. And I'm like, Lord, I don't want to be one of those people. And then up and come around, here's this roller coaster of entrepreneurship, lots of ups and downs, but definitely, faith at the center of it, because it takes faith to keep going when things don't go right, when things don't look the way you want them to look, because I'm very much perfectionist, and I can tell you there ain't nothing that I put out that has looked the way I want it to look. And I have learned to be okay with that.
That's a word right there. That's a word. Because I guess I would consider myself a perfectionist. And one of the things that I've learned, I don't even know when I learned it, but let's say I learned it somewhere around 35. I learned, it's okay. It's not going to be perfect. It could always be better. And once I release myself from the pressure of perfectionism, man, so you just said a whole word right there.
Right. And honestly, it's a daily exercise to move out of perfectionism, because, the thing is, I know me, like, if I'm so focused on keeping it perfect, I'll never release it. And if I never release it, then I can't be of value. Exactly. And one of the mentors in my mastermind says this all the time: you can't be valuable if you aren't visible. And
say that one more time.
It's like, you can't be valuable if you aren't visible. And so for me, it's like, if I'm holding on to what I have because it's not perfect, I'm not visible, and I can't be of value to you at all. Good. And that completely goes against, my prayer to serve women and to serve believers at the highest level, with helping them, with their money, helping them to manage, and increase their money, and using their faith at the foundation of that. Because the truth is, it takes faith to make money. And I truly believe that the highest income you'll ever make is because you trusted God enough with your life to go down this unknown path of whatever it is he's leading you to. And then, all of that's been added to you after you've done what you were supposed to do.
How about that? What is it? Gave some 2 talents, 3 talents, 10 talents. What do you want to do with it?
Right. And it's like
faith to use your talent.
It absolutely does. And we talk about the people who have all the money, but they didn't get there because they stayed in their comfort zone. Like, they took big risk. And a lot of these companies that we admire, the Apples, the Amazons, all this stuff, they took really big risk to make it happen. And as they say, no risk, no reward. Like, you got to bet on somebody.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself, and bet on God in you that he's going to get you through it. And so that's really, my, I guess, like, faith story with entrepreneurship is like, okay, Lord, you led me here, so I know you ain't gonna leave me. Like, obviously there's purpose for me here. And even though it's not looking the way I want it to look, all the time, you brought me here for a reason. So I'm gonna just keep on sticking it out, and I'm gonna keep doing, what you're telling me to do. And, we're gonna keep it rocking and rolling. Because I got desires, and, I truly believe desires come from heaven. And the desires are given to me to be fulfilled. So
how about that? Yeah. I've been so many times I've run into what you might call obstacles or things that I, could not do, or it felt like I was challenged in the area. And I just sit back and I said, God, you brought me here. And I know that you didn't bring me here to leave me. So it's you and me, God. You're going to show me how to figure this out. You're going to send me the resources that I need. So I totally believe that, he gives us these desires that come from heaven, and then we release it out into the earth. And it's by his grace, it's by his strength and his might that we're able to do all that he places on our hearts to do. So I feel you on that for sure.
Yeah. So, that is my stance with business. I just hold fast. So it's like, all right, Lord, I know, this is what you led me to. This is what you promised me. So I'm gonna keep going. I don't know when it's gonna happen, when my ultimate goal is gonna come to pass. But we're gonna baby step into it. Mm-hmm. We're gonna baby step into it. I'm gonna take the first step, you go do the rest.
Mm-hmm. So what do you wish you had known when you started out on your entrepreneurship journey? When you started, is there anything you wish you had known before you started?
If I had known anything that I know now, quite honestly, I probably wouldn't have.
Oh, wow.
Because, no front, it's hard work. It is hard work. And but the mindset you develop, going through entrepreneurship and building something that you believe in and really figuring out, who you are and, what your niche is and what you want to do, the process is absolutely worth it. Mm. But, if you tell anybody, oh, you're going to have to do this, it's going to be like this, all of that before they get started, they'll never get started. Mm. And so that's why I say, like, if I knew all the stuff that I know now about entrepreneurship, if I knew it back then, I would have been like, oh yeah, that's too much work. I ain't even going, like, I ain't even trying to put myself into that type of emotional turmoil.
So what gives you the courage to keep going every day? What keeps you going? What gives you that courage? Other than your faith, I know that you are a faith-driven woman, but what else keeps you going every day?
I mean, outside of faith, I would just say it's because God has just blessed me with a never satisfied sense of ambition. I've just always been the girl that's like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see it, and I'm not gonna quit until it's done. That's always just been my approach to everything. When I was in school, I was like, I'm not staying in Louisiana. People are like, well, how are you gonna get out of Louisiana? I'm getting out of Louisiana. I strategically made a plan. It was like, I'm going to LSU because no matter where I go in the world, people know what Louisiana State University is. They may not know about the academics, but at the bottom line, they know about the athletics. That was always my plan. All my friends went to a completely different school from me, but I was going to LSU because I was getting out of the state. I went to LSU. I got out of the state, came up here, and I'm still here in the DMV area, right outside of Washington, D.C. And, said I told myself when I was back in school, I was going to get a master's degree. I have a master's degree. There are just so many things. And when I was younger, my brother actually reminded me when I was younger, as a child, I used to always say, I'm going to build an empire. I don't know where it came from. Because I grew up in a small town right off of a military base. I had never seen anybody I don't think I had ever met anybody who actually made $1 million in a year, let alone met a woman or even seen a woman that owned her own business that made $1 million in a year. But I used to just always go around telling people that I was going to build an empire. And so at this point, I'm like, I have to be true to myself. Like, I said it a lot. And I don't take that as childhood folly. I'm like, obviously I was onto something and I have to be true to myself. And so I have to do it. I have to build this empire because little Kayla said I was going to do it. And I'm true to my word. My dad always said, your word is your bond. It's my bond. I'm going to do it.
That's awesome. So the Girl Go Global community and podcast is all about embracing the multi layers of our lives and stepping into our power and reaching the calling that we feel from within. And I believe that you, Kayla, are a global girl. You are literally showing up and manifesting, seems like all that the Lord has called you to do at this time. Although I'm sure there's much more to come from you. But tell me in your own words what it means to go global.
Going global. So funny thing. So for this year, my scripture for the year is Psalms 5:12. And, basically it says, with, to the righteous, God will surround you with favor as a shield. And I happened to be listening to TD Jakes one day, and he was talking about favor and what favor meant. And one of the definitions that he gave for favor was influence. And so I'm like, okay, trying to put two and two together, trying to make sense of this verse. Because I'm like, this is a really random verse. Why, why would this even be like the thing that I am anchoring myself in for the year? But basically, for the righteous, being righteous, being the woman that is standing in whatever you're being called to do at this point in time. Like, you don't have to try and go viral, as most people do on like TikTok or Instagram or whatever. You don't have to try and go viral. You just need to be doing whatever it is that God's called you to do, and he'll expand you. His favor will go before you, and that'll give you, and he'll expand your influence to everybody else. And so that's kind of what I see as the definition of going global, is just being righteous and whatever the assignment is, being seen as upright and whatever the assignment is that he's given you, and he'll take you global.
That's good. Oh my. So I pulled up Psalm 5 verse 12 NIV version, and just to quote that version, it says, "Surely, Lord, you bless the righteous. You surround them with your favor as with a shield." Wow. So if we just personify this idea about favor for the righteous as a shield, that means God's favor, it goes before me, because what do you use a shield to do? To cover you, to protect you. My. All right now. That's good. So as we get ready to wrap up this conversation, I just want to thank you, Kayla, for coming on and chatting with me about your faith in business, your faith in business. And I like, before we wrap up, just to kind of like say a quick prayer for the single women out there. We promise that we say a prayer, and I want to commit to that. So Kayla, do you mind praying for the single women, that they would shore up their faith, that they would look to the Lord, that they would, even go into their finances and clean that up while they're in their waiting season?
Absolutely. So let's just go ahead. And Lord, I thank you for this day. I thank you for all of the ladies under the sound of my voice. I thank you that you continue to, offer them wisdom and surround them with people, whether that be in person or virtually, that are going to help take them into their next level. I pray that they find contentment in you and who you are and who you want to be in their life in this season, and that they are so content with you that they don't want or long or feel lonely or even desire anything else that's outside of your will for them in this lifetime, Lord. And just, God, I thank you for all that you're doing in their lives, in my life, in all of our lives collectively. I thank you for the massive impact that, they are going to have. I thank you for the assignment that is on all of their lives, and, and how they're going to continue to bless the people around them, bless the people in their community. And even for the ones that you've called as, as the girls who you are going to elevate to go global. Lord, a piece of everyone will be felt, whether they are the face of the global movement or whether they're just a part of it. And so, God, I thank you for, who you are, who you're going to be, and all the things that you're doing, all the things you've done, and everything that you are going to do in the future. And so, Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Kayla. I have with me Miss Kayla Walter. If you'd like to connect with Kayla, please, Kayla, share with the people how they can connect with you and reach out to you for your services.
Absolutely. So you can connect with me on Instagram at Kayla M Walter 1. So that's Kayla letter M WALTER and the number 1. Or you can just send me an email at info@kaylawalter.com. You can also check out my website, which is kaylawalter.com.
Thank you so much. Girls, let's go global. Thank you so much for listening.